I was overthinking a book because the problem is when you don't read at all, one book means a lot. Okay, I'm being honest. One book, two books, it means a lot. Hi, my name's Aditi, and I am learning how to read. What do I mean by this? I mean, I don't read at all. I've not read a book fully in a really long time. And if I'm keeping things honest here, it's probably been a couple years. I've read books maybe 60 to 75% of the way through. That's fine, amazing. But I never get all the way through. I have my list of excuses, okay? I've made art, I've made music, I've released 10 songs. I was learning a lot of music production, but still, I could say that there's still time I'm spending on social media that could be going elsewhere. So, why am I learning how to read? Well, I always have an idea of who I'd like to be. And I believe that even if I'm not that person today, I can and will get there. More so, I will get there. I just have to figure out what works for me and what those systems are. In this video, I'm finally learning what does it take for me to read regularly. And I know by all the things I've learned in the past, whether guitar, music production, art, climbing, dancing, I know that I can do this. It's just completely flipping around essentially my life. And I was doing it without the intention of making a video, but then I thought it could help somebody. So I decided to record it because a lot of my channel is about learning things. Even if that's learning yourself or learning what you need to do to become a better person, it's all about learning. So what I've been doing this entire week, or actually the last 2 weeks, is looking at what I need to do to start reading more. The first thing that's gotta go is, of course, social media. So that time you're spending on social media, even if it's an hour or two, it kind of sucks, but you gotta just kick it out, or at least cut it down half the time. Or be mindful of the time that you are on social media. For me, I looked at my hours, I was like, this is not okay. I think, if I'm being honest, I was on my phone for many different reasons, but a total of 7 to 8 hours a day. I think 2 of those hours or 3 of those hours, sometimes it was social media, it was TikTok and Instagram. But what really started to frustrate me about TikTok was that I didn't feel like I was getting anything from it. I felt like after an hour of watching a bunch of little funny videos or even helpful videos, sometimes there were videos about what's happening in the news and stuff, but I didn't think that I was getting anything from it because none of it goes really that deep and you don't learn that much from it. I also want to create an app for that later on. Now, I've decided that I'm completely kicking out social media. I don't go on at all, and I haven't been going on for the last week. And you know what? Crazy, shocker, I've been fine. I'm here and I'm alive and I'm doing well. The other thing I did was I decided what kind of books do I want to read. I want to read nonfiction books. I enjoy fiction books. I think that for me, I'm still trying to discover what's interesting to me. So the thing about introducing something into your life that's never been there before, whether it's learning something new or something as honestly kind of big as reading books consistently over time, is you have to find a system that works for you. So you have to know what kind of books do you like? What are you interested in? And then after that, where does your time go? It's a lot of self-awareness. So for me, it's like a lot of time goes into social media, but I like nonfiction books. I like learning about things. And I was like, nonfiction books is a way for me to go. The next thing, what kind of books do I like to read? I've always been a physical book girly. Even in college, I would never buy online books. I couldn't do it. I think a Kindle might be a little different. That's something I've been interested in. My brother said you might like a Kindle, but physical books is what is best for me. I just like to hold the thing and read it and enjoy myself through reading. The next thing is, so at this point I've decided what I need to cut out. I decided what kind of book I want to read. I decided the way in which I'll be reading it. But from there, it's a lot of the microhabits. So I always walk around with my phone. I think a lot of us do. Now I'll be walking around with my phone, my interstitial journal, and also a book. Yeah, I'll have all 3 of those with me at all times, and I'll see how it goes. The other thing that I did, I set up an obsidian system. That was a week ago. I did that because I have shitty memory, and I don't like the idea of taking in information and it going nowhere. TikTok, the information goes nowhere. I want to store that. I've realized in talking to other people, I just have memory that's a bit worse, and that's fine. So I created an obsidian system for me to track what I'm learning, okay? And so now I'm gonna go into the books I got. I went to Half Price Books yesterday. What did I pick up? The first book I picked up was Nickel and Dimed on Not Getting By in America. The next one is Evicted by Matthew Desmond. The next one is Steven Pinker, How the Mind Works. I love anything surrounding the brain and how things work. The next one is Poverty by America. I know we're following a theme here. I didn't do this on purpose. I was just like, oh, what interests me? Oh, people getting treated badly. And I don't like that. That pisses me off. So I was like, I'm going to read all about it. Again, so you want to talk about race. I saw that this one is, when I did a little research, they were like, oh, this is a good book. I was like, perfect. Okay, so those are the books. There's also a 6th book, Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. When I read about Franz Kafka's style of writing, I was like, oh, that sounds really nice. So I picked up just the short story, and I'm going to read that. And then if I like his books more, I'll pick up other short stories and other works from him. So yes, that is my book stack. It's just sitting here right now. This is all an idea. I picked up these books so quickly. In fact, I actually had to narrow it down. So apparently that was one big block I had in my head of, well, I don't read that much. And because I don't read that much, this book has to be it. These 3 or 4 books have to be it. I'm like, well, Aditi, if that's the problem, you're just going to read more. This is also all very vulnerable for me. I changed my mindset just yesterday. I'm like, oh, well, if I'm reading 2 or 3 books, I'm really nervous. I'm like, it has to be perfect. But I was like, no, okay, then I'm not reading 2 or 3 books. I'm going to read like 15, 20 books. I'm just going to full send, and we're just going to read a lot, get rid of social media. Then I won't have the problem of what do I read? Oh, I can read it all. Like, that's really cool. So the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking around all the time with the book, my phone, and my little journal, because that's just something I'm doing right now too. But my thing is, if you can walk around with your phone all day, you can walk around with a book all day. Yes, you can't fit a book in your pocket, but it's the same idea. You're walking around with a set of things, and you have that with you at all times. The next thing that I'm doing, I've picked the books now. You have to really understand who you are. I understand, or I think I understand who I am. And the other thing is, like, now I just have to make time to read them. So a very obvious thing I'm going to be doing is reading for at least an hour a day. I also bought some magazines, so I have to figure out like how that all works together. And then I'm also apparently recording the process. I didn't mean to do this. The thing is, though, I never record the process of who I'm becoming. By the time I've put something in place that I'm really proud of, I've already gone through that process, and I was like, oh, actually, it would have been cool to document what that looked like. Because going from someone that never reads to someone that will read, because I know that now it's in my head and now I'm going to do it. But I was like, it'd be fun for someone to see that process. I also watched some videos about speed reading because I'm interested in how people read faster. Not that I want to read for the reason of reading 80 books a year or even 20 books a year. It's more like, what are things that people are thinking about that I'm not thinking about? And some tips that I saw on speed reading was, one, getting rid of subvocalization, which is when you're reading, getting rid of that voice in your head that's reading along with you. I'm not sure I can do that one. I have a very active very rich inner world. The next one is using a finger to guide your eyes and like move things forward. I kind of figured that out myself because I would use like a paper to make sure I couldn't see the rest of the page. It's kind of like that visual noise is really getting to me. So I would, so use a finger. Someone else also said, like, a lot of times in nonfiction books, there are concepts that are repeated. So if you're seeing a story that you've seen before, that you know of, or you're aware of what's in that chapter and it doesn't interest you as much, honestly, you can skip it. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but that is something I saw. Another one that I saw was reading the first sentence, last sentence, kind of skimming through the middle. I think that some of these are good tips because I can be a perfectionist and I want to read every word. And if I feel like I didn't understand the sentence, I will go back and read the sentence 3 times. There are things like that I do that I know prevent me from becoming a better reader or a more consistent reader because I'm like, I gotta get it perfect. Hey, you know what? Like, if I read this book, chances are I'm not gonna remember half of it. But understanding the idea is what matters. So if I'm getting stuck on a sentence and I'm reading it 5 times over, girl, move on. It's fine. Like, you're not going to remember that sentence in 5 years. It's okay. You'll be okay. The point of reading a book is to get the general idea of it. The other thing I saw was that you don't need to finish a book all the way through. There are so many YouTube videos, so many TV shows, movies we don't watch all the way through. Why do we feel that we have to read the book all the way through? Because that also happens to me. I will be halfway through a book and I'm like, honestly, sometimes I think I lose the momentum of reading a book because I am not consistent with it. But on the other hand, if you are consistent with reading a book and you feel like you don't want to read that book anymore, drop it. You don't have to read it. It's fine. So that was also an interesting concept that I picked up from my brother. My brother reads a lot, and he was like, hey, Didi, you don't have to actually read the book all the way through if it doesn't interest you. And then I saw that in a speed reading video, and he was like, We don't watch movies all the way through. We don't watch some TV shows all the way through. You watch a couple seasons, or you watch a season, or even a couple episodes, and you're like, no, this is not for me, and you move on. Amazing. So that's another tip. So overall, this past week, I set up an obsidian system. I bought 6 books. I completely cut out social media, cold turkey. I don't go on scrolling at all. And I have been very intentional with this change. I decided, what kind of topics am I interested in? Fiction or nonfiction. This is not to say I'll never read fiction. It's more like I'm more on the nonfiction side. And also, do I like physical books? Do I like reading on my phone, which I wouldn't prefer? I think I'd rather do a Kindle, but a Kindle is interesting to me, maybe. But after all of that, I am where I am now, and now I do the hardest part, which is actually reading, guys. I'm even making a YouTube video about it, but not actually reading. Okay. The most important part of this video for me that I wanted to say is sometimes you don't know the systems that work for you. I didn't know the system that I would need to make music. I've done music production. I've actually released 10 songs. I've learned how to play the guitar. I lost a lot of weight. I was obese and I lost 30% of my body weight. You sometimes need the system that works for you to do something that you'd like to do. Because I've always wanted to be a reader. Like, I love the idea of reading. I love the idea of right before bed you're reading a book. I've just not been around a lot of people or know of the systems that you'd need to do that. Because you might think, like, reading is just like, oh, picking up a book and starting it. It is, and it can be. But sometimes you have to overhaul a lot of different parts of your life that run much deeper. Because if you're picking up a book and your phone is right there and you still scroll a lot, it's hard to introduce something that is a big change, you know, and even learning how to read, like learning like, oh, maybe if I move my fingers across the page, that'll help. Or maybe I don't have to read all the chapters. It's better to read 70% of a book than not read the book at all. And so because of that, it's nice to know some tips and tricks of how to read. What are things that you might need to read more? Because I've always wanted to read more. I just never have. I don't know, because some of you follow me for my guitar covers. I also like doing that. I like doing a lot of things, man. But overall, this channel is just me learning and growing overall as a person at this point, because I just like to do a lot of things. I think the only thing that's consistent in my life is I just like to do things. I like to make things. And I even have an app idea, actually. I'm going to be making an app. So I know that the YouTube video, this channel started as a guitar cover channel, but then I kept finding that I wanted to learn and do more. And at this point, it's like a hobby channel, learning channel. Yeah, I am going to be reading a lot of books, so we'll see how it works. If I have findings, I'll let you know. I probably will have findings. And that's the video for today. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye. Oh my God, I have not posted a video in so long. It feels nice if I end up editing this video and posting it. It feels nice. Yay. Okay, bye.